Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing Breachers on Quest 2, and I gotta say, this game is blowing my mind. I mean, this is peak Quest graphic performance. I have never seen a game that looked this good on standalone, and I'm just blown away. If this is the future, which it's not because things are only going to get better, but I'm so excited for the Quest 3 to see how many more boundaries can be pushed there. But it's just incredible to see something like this where, like, look at those textures, the reflections on the ground. That's what really does it for me. It's all of these reflections. It's the time that the developers clearly took to make the environment just look incredible. I also think they just put a lot of time into the maps to make these textures, these graphics really shine on the Quest. I mean, we're going to head onto the skyscraper map in a minute here, and you'll see what I mean. I could spend an entire evening up there just, sitting back and drinking a beer, and I just honestly want to just chill up there on that rooftop and watch that sunset and enjoy the cityscape. It's crazy. There are like 3 maps to choose from. It looks like there's a factory, a skyscraper, and a hideout. And then there's also kind of a 4th bonus, which is for team deathmatch. I believe it's up to 50 kills, which is pretty good for like a TDM style gameplay. I know some games only go up to 30 kills or 25, and that just makes stuff go by a little too quick for me. So 50 kills, pretty solid. I will say there's some... it is still new, so there are some issues with the spawn points and things like that. But overall, even the TDM mode is definitely a lot of fun. But of course, people generally come to this for what it is, which is that kind of search and destroy, bomb defusal type gameplay. People compare this a lot to Rainbow Six. I know it's offensive, but I've never played Rainbow Six, so I'm sure a lot of you just stopped watching the video now after hearing that. But anyways, for those of you who keep sticking around, to continue about this game here though, man, they spent an incredible amount of time and effort on this environment, especially on the skyscraper map. I mean, look at that sunset, look at the buildings, the cityscape, the searchlights going up in the distance. And they didn't have to do this, but there are advertisements playing in the distance on big screens where, in general, games will just make it some flat image, especially in VR and something on Quest, but they've actually got them as like functioning working screens that are showing things. And that just really makes the environment just that much more authentic and real. And that's what really does it for VR for me. Like, it just transports you into these worlds that either feel like where our future is headed or are just so much different from anything you experience in real life. And that makes the games just that much more rich and enjoyable, and something you can't quite achieve on consoles or on PC. Definitely, you can go into different worlds and stuff, but once you put on a headset and you're kind of experiencing that, that's when it really gets amazing. I also love just how they clearly know their audience here. Like, look at this big green screen room here. It definitely kind of a dream setup for me. Maybe in the future I would start doing some green screen effects in my videos and maybe putting myself in them as well. And so a room like that just looks like, oh, that's exactly what I need. And then taking a step back just from the environment, how great it looks, like the gameplay itself is incredibly fun. It's intense, it's fast paced. The games are pretty quick and short, which is perfect for someone like me who's a dad and who doesn't have that much time during the day. I can easily hop on, play a couple rounds in 10 to 15 minutes while the kid's asleep, and then still be able to have some fun and not have to commit too much. So that's definitely something that's going to keep me coming back to this game a lot more than other games. And then, yeah, it's just even fun after you die, just being able to fly around this sort of drone where you're able to still mark enemies. You can't see enemies, obviously, but once you die, you can still communicate with your teammates. You can quickly mark where you died, so if the enemies are lurking there, they can keep on, they can kind of go track them down. But overall, it's a really fun game style for me as well. A couple of quirks with the game. One thing that took me longer than I care to admit to figure out is just that In the buy phase, all of the guns are organized by column. So yes, there's a column for shotguns, a column for rifles and SMGs and sidearms, etc. And that way, you know, you don't make the mistake I did. For example, here I picked up this gun with a drum mag and was like, sweet, I've got this assault rifle, and then jump into game and realize that, oh, you press and hold the trigger and one shot comes out and you die. So just make sure when you're playing, you know the structure of how the weapons are for the buy phase, but that you also double check that magazine capacity, because even if you buy a rifle, I believe at least one of them is just semi-auto. It's not fully automatic. So when you, again, press and hold that trigger, one shot's going to come out and you're probably going to screw yourself. So just make sure, I think it's like a 12 capacity magazine or something like that. So as long as your rifle is like over 12 or something like that, you should be okay. But that's the only way I can figure out of how to tell, really. You also can add attachments to your guns, so you'll keep the guns after you've played around, you'll get more money, and then in the buy phase, just pick up that gun you're holding and turn it sideways, and you can add attachments to it, such as red dot sights, silencers, things like that. But yeah, that's about all I'm going to cover for now. So if you want to play Breachers, I've put a 25% off code in the description below. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video and getting that little tidbit. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, and share. And I hope to see you in the next one. Forky VR out.